Welcome back once again. It's always good to have my amazing, intelligent, and very, very objective audience right here to discuss this with me. Please feel free to use the comment section to share your opinions, because most times I get to read them and get to have a couple of interactions over there. Now, looking at this case that involves Dr. Paul Eneche. Now, this has really gone around a whole lot about you. And normally, I'm not the kind of person that jumps into things quickly to discuss about them, because right now you will hear people writing in the comment, oh, as an investigator or whatever, you're supposed to hear from both sides or invest. No. Listen, something that is in the social media space, or what I say is in the public space, is open to public opinion. Right now you are typing your opinions in the comments. Did you take your time to go and ask Dr. Paul Eneche and his wife what really happened and all? But you're typing your opinions right now in the comment section. So what am I trying to make you understand? I am not anyone's private investigator. I have no right to say I see something on social media about anyone and I go and start asking the person, please, what really happened? For what? Okay, so I think there has been ample time since this thing has been lingering on Facebook and right here on YouTube for them to also give a public response to the public allegation or a private allegation that came public about them. So right now, I think they have been quiet about it. So let me give my opinion as I get to analyze what it is I see. So it might look as if it's one-sided, but at least it's based on what we see that we discuss. Okay, I analyze trends, and let me not even talk more about that. Now, there was someone, I'm going to play for you an audio. For those of you who have heard the audio before, you can decide to skip that part, okay? So I'm going to put a timestamp right here, since it's already something out there. But if you are new to this particular story, there was someone that worked in one of these establishments, which is his school. Many of these pastors, they run schools, sometimes they run bakeries, they run a couple of other businesses aside standing on the pulpit and then holding a mic, okay? So all of these are ways of diversification, and to a great extent, let me tell you, as they run these schools and all that, they are also creating jobs for, people that are in their churches, and it's more of like the same thing moves around the same circle, okay? So let's say you're a member of a church or not a member of the church and you're working for them. It's also a means of employment. So yes, on the other hand, it's more of like, more money for the church and also growing the empire where they get to build, bigger churches and all that. At least some people themselves get to have a source of livelihood from being attached to this particular church, or what I say, working for one of the establishments. So let's not just be quick to, look at everything on the negative. Okay, right here, we stay very, very, objective as we try to understand what is going on. So this person right here had been working for the school, according to him, which the wife of Dr. Paul Eneche confirmed, Becky, over 7 good years. Okay, so he feels more of like his loyalty cannot be questioned. And then he got accused of a couple of things, which are going to hear him talk about himself. But after this particular audio has finished playing, I'm going to come back and give you a couple of comments from the beginning of the audio to the end, the things I observed and what I think, or how I think we should be looking at it. So listen to this audio. I'll be back with a couple of comments.
Good evening, Mr. Nanayao. This is Mr. 𝐲𝐴𝐢𝐭𝐡. I was a staff of Destiny Christian Academy, a school owned by Dunamis International Gospel Center, and I was sacked unjustly by the school on allegations of molesting female students at various instances in the school. The sack happened summarily such that I wasn't given an opportunity to defend myself or even face any disciplinary actions. A committee, so to say, they issued me a query on a Thursday, 16th of April, 2021, and I replied the query the next day, being 17th. In their query, they said they have CCTV footage of me molesting a particular girl and many other students. And my reply was direct. I reminded them of how hardworking and dedicated I've been to my job at Destiny Christian Academy. And in all those years, my character has never been questioned. My input has never been questioned. My hard work and dedication earned me a lot of promotions, and it made me an envy for a lot of the other staff. That's by the way. So when I was sacked, that very day I was issued with a sack letter. I ran to the pastor's house, that is Pastor Paul Eneche. I ran to his house and waited for him, even though they told me he was resting. I waited, and when he eventually came out, I showed him the sack letter. He was very angry and said, "So this is what I've been doing in the school?" And I said, "No, that this information contained in this letter is not correct, and that's why I'm running to him so that he can set up a committee to look into the matter." He assured me that he was going to do something about it, and he never did. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month, I didn't hear from them, and I was following up with his wife, Mrs. Becky Eneche, who is the director of the school. I sent her numerous text messages, and she replied me on one of those occasions to say that it's an unfortunate situation, that the school told her that they have CCTV footages, and as such, she would not be able to help me in any way. So I said, okay, it's fine. Before I could know what was happening, the particular woman in the school, that is Mrs. Chioma Ijeze, who was the originator of the lies that I was molesting female students, was already communicating with parents of the school and telling them that I actually raped the girl. It wasn't just molestation, but I actually raped the girl, and that these parents should avoid me as much as they could. Before I could know what was happening again, the school had sent an official message on all their social media platforms to all the parents, telling them that I've been sacked by the school, so they should no longer communicate with me. Now, looking at all this, I felt that there was a need for me to clear my name, because, of course, for posterity's sake, I have children who may stumble on this information in the future, and they will ask me questions. So I got a lawyer, and the lawyer wrote to the school. We wrote politely, honorably, and appealed to the school to do two things for us. Either they set up a panel to look into the matter thoroughly, or better still, report me to the police, since it was a criminal offense that they were alleging me of. So the school replied us through their lawyer that they would not set up any panel, that I'm no longer a staff of the school, so I do not have any authority to ask them, to tell them what to do. That's one. Two, they also said that in due time, they'll report me to the appropriate government agencies who prosecute me for the crime I've committed. And that three, they were going to sue me and claim damages for all the embarrassments I've caused the school. So, with such a response, I already knew that they were not going to do. I wasn't going to get justice in them. So, I wrote a petition to the Inspector General of Police, and the Inspector General of Police gave the Federal CID, Federal Criminal Investigation Department of the Nigeria Police, the authority to carry out an investigation, which they did, and their report exonerated me of all the allegations, and I sued the school. I sued the administrator of the school for defamation of character at the magistrate court in Gwagwalada, Abuja, and I also sued the school to the National Industrial Court, also in Abuja, for unlawful termination of employment. Now, 5 months down the line, this incident happened in April, and then by August 31st to be precise, I was picked up by men of the Nigerian police from the River Park Divisional Police Station on allegation of rape. I was detained, and My lawyer wrote a petition to the Commissioner of Police in the FCT, and after they looked at it, I was released the next day because they said the federal CID had already investigated the matter, and so the state CID was subordinate to the federal CID. So if a federal CID has done an investigation, the state CID cannot come and do the same investigation. But the school insisted, and of course, using the powers that available to them, they found a way to make sure the investigation continued at the state CID. And I was invited for interview with some of the officials of the police, and it was stated clearly there. The girl was there with her mother and some staff of the school, and she said it to the hearing of everybody that I didn't do anything to her. That was in September last year. So when the news broke out that I was arrested, Pastor Enenche invited me to his office, and he was prevailing on me to accept responsibility, to accept that I actually committed the crime, and if I do accept and I apologize to him, that he was going to do something about it. And I said, apologizing means I'm accepting that I committed the crime. I didn't do it, so I don't see why I should be apologizing. And we kept going back and forth. After that meeting, the wife of Pastor Enenche, Ms. Becky Eneche, met me severally, and we had several discussions. None of them could reach any conclusion in my favor. So I continued with the cases in court, and they've been trying to find a way to come up with some allegations against me, to see how they can make me withdraw the cases at the court. By all means, they have tried to use my brother, manipulating my brother against me. They have tried to use my wife, trying to manipulate my wife against me too. And they've tried every means possible, but I've been able to stand my ground so far. And then on the 25th of April, 2022, my wife and children went out of the church premises, because we still live in the church premises. That's the Lord's Garden in Abuja. And my wife and children went out to get some things. On returning, they shut the gates and locked them out. In fact, they physically assaulted my wife, and they told her that they were under the instruction not to let her into the premises. So the information got to me because I was at home. So I went there to find out why, and the security personnel on duty informed me that the instruction was given by the wife of the pastor, Mrs. Becky Eneche, that they shouldn't be let in. So I said, well, we still live here, and we have not committed any crime, so why should they be locking out my wife and children? So I was able to have a discussion with the security personnel, and they let them in. The next day, which was Tuesday, 26th, they came and disconnected the electricity supply to our house. After that, they came with their plumbers and also disconnected our water supply. That was on Wednesday, 27th of April. Then by Thursday, being the 28th of April, I sent a message to the senior pastor, Dr. Paul Eneche, informing him of all these things that had happened. And he invited us to a meeting in his office on Friday, 29th of April. When we got to his office, he was talking angrily about the audacity my wife had to send a message to him, the kind of language she used and all of that. And she called my wife a useless girl. And so I told him that my wife is not useless, that my wife is actually very useful to me. So in the course of talking, an argument broke out, and then he started insulting me directly, calling me a useless boy, calling me a stupid boy, a non-entity, And I reminded him that a non-entity has been working dedicatedly for 7 years in his school, and I've been promoted to several positions that a non-entity couldn't have attained. And I also reminded him that it was our pedigree that they put together to start the school, because we actually started the secondary arm of the school, Destiny Christian Academy. And so in the course of the argument, his bodyguard broke into the office. His bodyguard by the name 𝐲𝐴𝐵 broke into the office and ordered me to leave the office. So I told the bodyguard that he wasn't the one who invited me to the office, so he wouldn't give me an instruction to leave the office. If the pastor wanted me to leave his office, he would have asked me to leave. So along the line, because we're there with my elder brother became angry and said he was not going to be part of the meeting anymore. So when we're leaving the office, the bodyguard pushed me, and I staggered forward. So when I turned, I pushed him too, and then we got into an argument and we left the office. So the next day, being Saturday, 30th of April, at about 11 p.m., 11:09 p.m., the 𝐲𝐴𝐵, the bodyguard of Pastor Enenche, came with some mobile policemen to my apartment to arrest me, alleging that I am a threat to him and to the people living around the Lord's Garden. So I spoke to the mobile policemen and I explained to them how I've been living in the compound peacefully for the past 4 years, and nobody has ever reported me at the security office or being a security threat whatsoever. And so the mobile policemen left, and it ended there. Then on Saturday, 7th of May, at about 8 a.m. in the morning, I left my apartment to go and get bread for breakfast for my family. And then a mobile policeman saw me and ordered me to come here. And as I was approaching him, I said, "Officer, is there any problem?" And he just grabbed me by the neck and said, "Do you know who I am? Do you know who you're talking to? I'm a police officer." And then the next thing, another mobile policeman joined him. It's a 𝙬𝙗𝐴 security, that's their internal security personnel, also joined them. And 𝐲𝐵 was also there. And they all started punching me and beating me up. And then I was able to break free. And yes, my wife ran out of the house and tried to video what was happening. And 𝐲𝐵 attacked her and smashed the phones. She had 2 phones on her. She said he smashed the phones, and she couldn't get the video of the incident. So when I broke free, I was walking out to go to the police station, and then they followed me with their police van to try to take me to the River Park police station. And I said, no, I will go to the station myself. I can find my way to the station. So I went to 𝙬𝐵 police station, because 𝙬𝐵 police station was actually the one that was closest to me. So I went there, and they asked me if it was a follow-up of a case that was already being investigated, and I said yes. And so they directed me to the federal CID, where I had reported my own case initially. So I got there, and then the federal CID people took me to hospital and treated me of some of the wounds I sustained as a result of the attacks. And they brought me, because when I left, 𝐲𝐵, that's the bodyguard of the pastor, had instructed them not to let me back into the compound. So when we got here, the officers from the federal CID asked them why, and they said that my attention was needed at the River Park police station. So we all went there, and they said that I fought with a police officer, that I assaulted a police officer. So they were charging me with criminal intimidation of a police officer. And Yes, Gabriel had informed them that I was a threat to him, that I threatened him. I used intimidating words and threatening words too. So we were able to be granted bail, and so I came home. And then, of course, that has been this.
Welcome back once again. It's so good to have you. Now let's start from the beginning of the audio itself. Now, the first person who actually got to circulate this, because I like to always come from a point, or would I say a reference point, Prof X was not the person that this particular audio was sent to. If you listen to the audio, it was sent to someone that is a Ghanaian. Nana Yao. Nana Yao is a name for Ghanaians. It's not the name for Nigerians. So this person was probably talking to someone that maybe has a stake or is a stakeholder in the church about the situation that he faced, in the church and how he was unjustly sacked. So let's look at a couple of key things in this. Now, when he was sacked, or when he received his sack letter or something, his first call of action was for him to run to Papa, who is his own Papa, Dr. Paul Eneche. But you also have to understand something. Dr. Paul Eneche is known for, like some people would say, Pastor, I am not aware kind of person, because the idea right here is that him going to the father, or would I say his father in the Lord, was more of like, okay, to go and report the situation so that if he's not aware, he gets to do something about it. But of course, we can say that maybe he's more of like a busy man. So the wife is the director of the school. When we get to the part where we talk about the wife's involvement with the secret audio recording, which I think there's a lot of misinterpretation to that, you get to see that to a good extent, he may not really be aware of what goes on in the school, like to a great extent, since he might be running other projects, okay? But the wife herself is very much aware of this sack. So this is my analogy right here. Is there a way that this man can be sacked, being someone that has been in the school and is very significant, not just would I say a normal employee, but someone that has been promoted to the point of patron, okay? Is it possible that he could be sacked without Dr. Paul Eneche being aware of that particular plan or that particular intention? So him going to Dr. Paul Eneche, he was angry, not angry that he has been sacked, but angry that he did this thing. So was he looking at the letter that he was given and being like, so, oh boy, so now wait till you do be this. Why would you do this kind of thing now? You understand? So this was more of like a situation. Him going to the father, and the father is more of like, oh, like seriously, so you did this, and he's angry. But in turn, he was now explaining to him that he didn't do any of that, and what he expects is that he could use his authority and power, being the number one, the apex, to be able to set up a panel or something so that the investigation can be done about it, so that, he knows if these things are true or not or something, okay? But note, at this time, he was still living in the school premises. We are going to talk about that a whole lot as we look at the second part of this video, as we go on to Dr. Paul Becky Eneche's reaction with the secret audio recording. But also understand this, for every establishment, like we talked about the whole Christland or Christland issue that's trended on social media, the school, first of all, what they will look out for is their image. Okay, teachers can come and go, but when they are looking at the posterity of their institution or whatever establishments are running, they are looking at the image, the goodwill they have in people's mind. When parents think about this school, what should come to their mind? You understand? So this particular allegation that has been given on him, if you listen to the audio, he first started by talking about that he has been accused of molesting girls. Then from there, he graduated from talking about girls to talking about a particular girl. Do you understand? Now, according to the audio recording, it is said that the director said, who is the director here? Becky herself, that there are CCTV footages of him having, or would I say, molesting young girls, even though he graduated from talking about girls to a particular girl. But you see, the school right now, let me look at this objectively. If there is a CCTV footage of this particular incident happening, do you think as a school, that you would want to release those kind of footages, even though those kind of footages and all that implicate this particular person that works for your school? What do you think the public or the parents that are letting their children come to this church that belongs to the school, because maybe there is this whole idea that public schools or other schools that are on the outside may be giving some, or would I say indoctrinating these children or making them exposed to evil morals or, teachings that are not godly? And where we are supposed to feel like we have safety for our children, they are being molested. So if this is true, let's just keep that caveat if, because they themselves have not responded. Maybe the case is still in court, because as at the point I'm speaking right now, this happened in 2021 and it has been a discussion right from then. So we don't know what is happening right now at the moment. So I can only give you an opinion based on what is happening or what I have seen on social media. So if this is true, it makes sense why the school would try to cover it, because they care about their goodwill in the minds of the parents, not really about the employee that can be replaced, or would I say is disposable. But right now, the employee himself says that this is actually a wrong allegation. So let me ask you a question. Why do you think the school, in consortium with these two people, the Paul and the Chioma, that they would want to make sure he is out of the way? Is there a smoke without fire? You understand? Because he feels that this is more of like a gang up against him. And even one of the persons that he calls, or one of the persons that he claims to be someone that is accusing him, or would I say making this whole thing up, is someone that they went to university together. So he knows this person's antics according to the audio message. But we are going to get to that in the part 2. So one thing I also get to observe in this particular audio was that the school were already telling the parents to distance themselves from him. Now, the school telling the parents to distance themselves from him, on what grounds? What information are they giving him? Is it that he did this or he did that, which I think would not be the case, or that, oh, this person is no more our staff, so distance yourself from him, because he's still staying in the school premises? Of course, they will still be seeing him. And if the parents themselves are not aware, they might keep entrusting their kids to him. And doing this may all paint this particular image that this is how this person is. So now look at the goodwill of the man working for this school and look at the goodwill of the school. Which of them has more attention? Which of them has more stake at hand? The goodwill of this man is, of course, very disposable. The school would always stay forever, depending on how they're able to run it. So, but if this man wants to move to somewhere else, this particular goodwill is supposed to have, which now has become a bad will, is going to hunt him wherever he's going, because the question would be, what happened where you are coming from? You understand? What does the school where you are coming from, on what conditions have you been sacked? If this particular story is lingering around him, how can he progress in his career as a teacher? Because for you to be a teacher, children should be able to be entrusted in your care, to know that you can take care of them and make sure you bring out the best in them instead of molesting them. So what point am I trying to make here? The man himself has a good cause for trying to get to the root of the matter. If there is a CCTV footage, why drag the whole matter this long? If there is a footage to show this, the man himself should be more of like, this is what I'm thinking. In this particular case, if you really want to mark the man to hush, it's very simple. Bring the man in the office, like the woman, Becky herself brought him in the office. Sit him down and show him the footage and be like, is this you or not? The man will not be going around making, I'll call it, because that is what they would call it, and that is what members of Eneche's church who might be watching now would call it, noise. But the thing is that we have people that are so far away. These are people that are insiders, or would I say, in tune with the ministry, that are coming out with this. But you that is a floor member will just come to defend your church, because of course you are giving your life to the church. So you just want to make sure that your church has a good image, which I don't really care at this point. But looking at more facts in this case, the case was, he took the case up to the state CID for them to, investigate the matter. And from the investigation, that is when we now went from girls to a girl. So the girl who was being said that he had a rampam with, said that nothing of such happened. So where, for he who alleges must prove. And that's one thing I always tell you guys right here on the platform. There is nothing of which I pick to discuss about, I don't try to lay facts on. You understand? Because I know one thing for sure. Defamation is something very real. Defamation is when you are blatantly telling lies about someone for something that is actually, of course, not true. and there are defamation lawsuits. So when I try to talk about something, if you notice, it's not everything I see out there on social media that I pick on to discuss. If I cannot factually base this particular thing, the internet never forgets. Come on. So I wouldn't want to make some mistakes and then come out tomorrow and say, I'm sorry. No, that's not how the things work here on media. Okay, so we don't just want to push narratives that are not true out there, because of course these people we are talking about, they have people that love them and all that. What do you expect those who love them and respect them to feel when they're watching this? So if you want to talk about something like this, base it on facts and not just sentiments or things like that. But the part that really got me to wonder of how Paul Eneche might be very corny and heartless, if I'm to put it that way, as I read in some of the comments of other platforms I saw it, is that he really asked him to apologize to him and accept the crime. You see, this is one thing I see about, you see, most of these men of God, quote and unquote, they really do care a whole lot about their personal image. Even me right here on my platform, you don't just play with my integrity, I would say, because I think I have it to a great extent. If you know the things I know from behind, if you know what happens behind the scenes before I come and sit down here and talk, there are certain things you will not even utter in the comment, but I don't hold you on doing that. What am I trying to say here? Dr. Paul Eneche telling him to accept the crime and apologize to him, then, he will be given packages and all that. That is wrong. If you, Dr. Paul Eneche, have not seen this particular footages and you just believe your wife hook, line and sinker, that means you guys are working in pari passu and bringing a whole lot of injustice and things, making people feel hurt over your image, or the image of your establishment. Because one thing that really got me wondering is that this person right here is more of like now there is no way it is stated that because you are a founding member of a particular school, or because you are not like a founding member, because you were instrumental in maybe the development of a particular institution, that it makes you automatically an employee there forever. So you can grow out of it, okay? Because he talked about the fact that it was his pedigree that helped them move to the point of having secondary schools. And it's true. You cannot just own a school because you have money, you go and build a big establishment and then you become a school owner. No, you need to have people that have degrees that should make the school qualified, or accredited to even administer education, because you have qualified people there. So him talking about that, I think it was necessary so that people that are listening should understand where he came from and then how he has been committed to the school. But going further, you can now see the extent of which these particular men of God can use their influence to really, really make things happen for them. Look at the extent of manipulating his own wife that is still staying in the premises, manipulating his own brother against him just to make him bow to what the church themselves expect through Dr. Paul Eneche. But the man still held on his ground because he just wants to make sure that if he's moving on from here, this is what the narrative has to be. If not, this particular stigma is going to follow him for a long time. If this particular stigma is coming from, let's say, a secular school, okay, but if it's coming from a school that is known to be a Christian school, even the fear of God is not even in you enough for you not to do this kind of thing in this kind of environment. So what do you think a secular school or a government school would think before even accepting this kind of person? If he could do this in a Christian school, that means he's going to do worse in this particular kind of establishment. So it's indeed essential, inevitable for him to actually clear his name on this and get to the root of it. But now look at the ground for which they could then control him. Even while he was being sacked, of course, for him to really work in the school, he had to live close to the premises as someone that is also part of the, promoted and all that, and, for easy accessibility and all that. Him still living in the church premises, of course, is going to be, if it's in Igbo, it will still, it's going to be, somehow, they're not going to be pleased for him to still be around there. Because according to the audio which you're going to be looking at, he was told to leave the premises. But how can you tell someone to just wake up tomorrow and leave the premises without giving him maybe rent for where he's going or making adequate plans for that? So it's more of like a pre-planned act of rusticating him like relegating him to nothing, if I'm to put it that way. But I hope, sir, if you're watching this, I hope he had been having a couple of savings and would I say some investment or something, so that you don't just put your life all in the whole church thing, because that's how come they're going to be able, or they're still able to, you know, manipulate you, stop you from entering the premises and all that, because of course in the end you are still at their mercy. Even though you have been sacked, you are still staying in the church premises. I don't know if you are still paying rent for that, but I know that for a fact that for you to be staying there, maybe they're deducting that from your own salary. And if they're not paying you salaries anymore, guess what that means? They'll be wanting you to get out of the premises. But the most heartless situation right now, I just wonder, where is the godliness in this? Okay, because Dr. Paul Eneche, you and Becky, because two of you are together in this, even though your wife is a director of the school and she may be the one giving the command for this, how can two work together except they agree? Because maybe she tells you these things that, you know, she's doing in order to frustrate this man for him to leave the premises. But to the point of disconnecting his water and electricity, this is the highest form of, what kind of frustration is this? Now, this is someone that still calls you papa. This is someone that still calls you mommy. And you treat him this way, disconnecting his water, electricity, just to frustrate him to the point of him packing his load and leaving the premises. You have sacked him already. That one it's okay, it's done. But isn't that enough for you to then frustrate him this way and then really, like, seriously, if what this man is saying is true, then that is very, very heartless of the church. And if what he said about you insulting his wife, yeah, God. Dr. Paul, how are you? How are you doing? Like, seriously, you really insulted his own wife and called her useless and called him useless. You see, now, I don't know, two of us, whether you like it or not, you and I were not there when they were having this particular conversation or this particular argument. But usurping authority based on who he is, of course, he would feel like he can talk to anyone anyhow. Don't you see men of God that stay in church and then slap people anyhow, or would I say kick people around, or would I say, you know, sometimes talk to their members like they are just one piece of whatever because of who they are, or would I say how they have been papified and would I say mummified by them? So that might actually be a true statement, even though it might not be a statement of truth. I'm borrowing Joshua Selman's words because we were not there. But understanding where we are going to from here, you can see that to a great extent, this man here, even from the audio himself, really still loves his papa, still loves the church. Would I say still loves his work? But he just feels that to a great extent, he has been rusticated for no just cause, which maybe there's a feeling he has that this might just be more of like a planned work with those that are, you know, working, or would I say working in that same establishment, but he just doesn't know where the issue is coming from exactly. That is why he feels that the only people that can be of his defense, or the only people that can help him get this whole thing solved, are those that are really against him. Dr. Paul Eneche and the wife, Dr. Becky Eneche. Please, couples, you guys left what you studied in school, doctor, to go and become church doctor, to go and become pastors and pastores. Think about what you are doing for a moment. Think about this person's life and future. Had it been you were a doctor and then someone came and said that while you were trying to do operation, that you were fingering, or would I say that you were doing 𝐲𝐨𝐽𝐻�10 that you are not supposed to do on the patient, and accuse you of molestation, do you think you have a career tomorrow elsewhere as a doctor? Except you go and build your own hospital and that particular stigma does not follow you. But for you to be a teacher, think about it as a career person. Don't think about it as man of God. I believe we just finished talking about Osinachi's issue, how you went to Cameroon and did all the crusade you did. Even when you knew that she died when you were in Cameroon, you came back on a Sunday. On Sunday that you are supposed to even announce it, and you were dancing, and we made a video about that. I don't want to go there. Still the same idea, you are not aware. So, sir, this one now, the way it's lingering on social media, you will not say you are not aware. It's just that it has not really gotten like, you know, like how Osinachi's case went, even though you were very much aware. Dr. Becky, we are going to talk about her in the second part of this video. So I don't know if you're able to get anything from this particular video. So what I've just been trying to explain to you right now is that someone is being hurt. He wants to make sure that his name is cleared, or would I say he's being proven, he's been shown why he has been rusticated, or would I say sacked, so that he's able to move on with his life. But if he doesn't know what is going on, or what he's being accused is true or not, then how do you expect him to move on? Even though he decides to just drop everything and just move on, this is a stigma attached to him. They still want him to accept that he did something that he did not do according to him. But if the school themselves are saying, Dr. Becky, if you are saying that he did that particular thing that you think he did, it's very simple. All of this drama would not be happening if you cannot just pick your phone or pick the CCTV footage and show him and say, this is the video I saw. Is this you or not? Do you think this man would come out here and be talking here and there? Anyway, tell me what you think in the comments. If you want to watch the part 2 of this particular conversation, all you have to do is click right here and you get to see my analysis on what the wife herself said when she was secretly recorded. See you next time in my video. I love you.
Onídúró mi ẹ ṣeun. One time. Onídúró mi ẹ ṣeun púpọ̀. Onídúró mi ẹ ṣeun. Onídúró mi ẹ ṣeun púpọ̀. Ó jẹ́ ènìyàn ló dúró mi wọ́n ti mọ̀ sí ẹ̀kọ́. Onídúró mi ẹ ṣeun. Ọlọ́run o. Onídúró mi ẹ ṣeun. Onídúró mi ẹ ṣeun púpọ̀. Ó jẹ́ ènìyàn ló dúró mi wọ́n ti mọ̀ sí ẹ̀kọ́. Onídúró mi ẹ ṣeun. Onídúró mi ẹ ṣeun. Ẹ ṣeun púpọ̀. Ó jẹ́ ènìyàn ló dúró mi wọ́n ti mọ̀ ṣe é. Onídúró mi ẹ ṣeun.
You guys a whole lot. Remain blessed.